Welcome everyone to the very first episode of Silver Screen Slam, where we present nothing short of pure reverence for those wonderful moving pictures we have all enjoyed over the past century. Pictures on the big screen and small screen alike. Pictures that can almost literally take us away to worlds we've never imagined. And pictures willing to push the envelope of artistic integrity in directions we haven't even dreamed. I am your somewhat mild-mannered host, Jake Brown, ready to guide you through more movie fun than you can shake an archaic metaphor at. So come join me each episode as we explore movies of the past and present and discuss what we love, what we loathe, and what we let our loyal viewers voice about them. After each episode, we will ask you to voice your own opinion about upcoming movies we delve into via our social media outlets at the bottom of your screen. Now, with that being said, let us drive right in. During each episode, we will discuss a movie that we feel warrants considerable praise for bringing many positive artistic elements to the screen. This may be a new release, a not-so-new release, or even one of the classics. For our first episode, we'll explore a movie that has proven to be a roller coaster ride of understanding for many, the 2001 Richard Kelly cult classic, Donnie Darko. Now, before we jump right into our detailed demonstration of simultaneous devotion and disapproval, that's right, let's talk a little extras. For those of you who appreciate awesomely bad films of a bygone age, you may remember a TV show from the 1990s called Mystery Science Theater 3000. And for those of you who don't, MST3K was a comedy show from the minds of a small group of movie buffs from Minnesota. Each episode, they would take it upon themselves to better our lives by sitting in the front row of their very own personal theater, and lobbing joke after insult at whatever unfortunate D-movie of the week they chose to throw up on the screen. The glorious result of which was then sent to our welcoming home television sets. After being canceled in 1999, these weary writers spent a few years in silence before at it again with a new show in town called RiffTrax. And here's the kick, they now do it live. Not only can you venture over to their RiffTrax.com website and purchase an audio riffing of your favorite guilty pleasure, but you can also head out to your local theater every few months and catch a live broadcast of their antics. Did I just hear someone ask what the most recent RiffTrax live event was? I didn't, because this is a pre-recorded show. Well, the answer is Sharknado. Let's take a quick look at a clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for RiffTrax Live Sharknado.
Still less dangerous than a carnival cruise.
Yeah. Look out, Jin. Tara's home.
Whoa, kaiju pig pen. Cool.
Hello,
Hi, whatever movie it is, I'll do it.
Yeah, Finn.
Stuffed weasel pig, good to see you. Wee! I'm a big poo!
Help me, get my dog out!
The Baja men prepare for their finest hour.
Us!
We shouldn't be afraid of the sharks.
Wishing Aunt Bee afraid of the sharks?
Oh, Andy, Opie, the sharks! From downtown, yes!
It's time for RiffTrax.
Lucky for you, for me, and for anyone who has an internet connection of at least 56K, this hilarious episode has just become available on the RiffTrax website. Now, I had the personal pleasure of viewing this riffing of the Tara Reid rom-com in the actual theaters when it initially broadcast, and I must say, it was totally worth the $12.50 movie ticket that Sharknado wasn't. While the new movie riff hasn't yet been announced, the next RiffTrax live show will be in May of 2015. Be sure to head over to RiffTrax.com for more info and to check out their other live shows as well. You can monetarily thank your host later. And now that we've caught up on literally every piece of movie news currently out there, let's get right into our featured flick of the episode, Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko is a dark sci-fi drama set in an October month in 1988 Virginia. The story is about a teenage boy named Donnie who, suffering from what at first seems to be some form of schizophrenia, begins to have visions of a space-time traveling, horrifying 6-foot-tall bunny rabbit named Frank, who tells Donnie that in less than a month, the world will end. Off to a soothing start, I know. From here, we follow Donnie's journey as the unexpected hero through a seemingly deterministic parallel universe. Donnie is ultimately tasked with piecing together a specified series of events in order to connect this alternate universe back to his own and save the world. The movie was the full-length debut of writer-director Richard Kelly and starred Jake Gyllenhaal, Jake's sister Maggie Gyllenhaal, who coincidentally enough plays his sister on screen as well, and Jenna Malone, with additional appearances by Drew Barrymore, Seth Rogen, and the now late Patrick Swayze. Let's take a look at a quick clip from the film.
"28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. That is when the world will end."
Now, the first time I saw Donnie Darko, I didn't care for it at all. I was in my younger high school years and had convinced myself that I understood the basic story, but that the movie attempted to execute this story by pretending to be far above its audience's intelligence. And I don't know about you, but I am not about to let some artsy-fartsy weasel with a camera try to tell me that he got more smarts than Jake Brown do. The reality of it was that I had absolutely no idea what I was watching. It was only after consecutive viewings of the film, as well as some embarrassing ridicule by my more artistically inclined peers, that I was able to delve deeper into the film's more profound concepts. Well, guess what? I still didn't understand it. What the hell was Kelly telling us? Was he actually trying to put together a substantial plot with coherent elements and believable scenarios? Or was he just a pretentious scribbler who desired nothing more than to see his viewers scratch their heads in utter bewilderment? It wasn't until I watched the 2004 Director's Cut release, with included commentary by Kelly and other notable writer-director Kevin Smith, that things started to finally make sense. Which leads us to the good. What was good about this movie? For me, having listened to the movie's audio commentary, I now understood much more of the superhero characteristics attributed to Donnie. I began to appreciate the parallel universe in which our writer had placed his superhero, and now clarified were many underlying messages hidden in the subtext, such as messages mirroring Hindu and Buddhist concepts of samsara and ultimate enlightenment, as well as a message about fate, referenced specifically within the repeated and significant phrase, Deus ex machina, our Savior. Once I grasped what this artist of artists had hidden in plain sight all along, I was able to expand my appreciation outward to the other fine aspects of this film. Donnie Darko brings to the table something very different from what I'm used to seeing. It combines the youthful appeal of comic book-style characters with the harsh teen angst many of us tend to experience during our pre-college school years. The adolescent Donnie struggles to simply keep his sanity through normal day-to-day school life. Never mind the fact that he now also has to cope with the possibility that everyone and everything he knows may cease to be if he doesn't step up to the plate and obey a supposed demon bunny's commands. To top everything off, he is completely haunted by the idea of dying alone. Another powerful statement made about our existence and our significance as human beings. Within the story lies embedded themes of personal sacrifice, love, and profound existentialism, a quality in stories that always tends to leave a pleasant, lasting impression on me. Jake Gyllenhaal's brooding presence and the way he carries the film through to its end sends a powerful message, one of our impermanence in the world and the importance of valuing every second we have of our lives. Maggie Gyllenhaal complements this performance wonderfully as Donnie's indifferent and oftentimes hostile sibling, Elizabeth. And Jenna Malone pulls through with a character whose external past is just as dark and saddening as Donnie's internal present. Her character is a perfect match for his, and she adds just the right amount of motivation to fuel him to become the ultimate savior this world had no idea it needed. But let us not forget the original bodhisattva himself, Patrick Swayze, as the dichotomous New Age guru in town, Jim Cunningham. Cunningham presents for Donnie a significant hurdle to overcome in order to become a stronger force for change in his surrounding environment. Across the board, there were very few less than spectacular performances by the entire cast, which helps bring to the screen a type of confidence that bonds with the story to produce a truly powerful work of art. As for the visual aspects of the film, Kelly's overall look utilized the talents of a director of photography who had previously worked on famous hits such as Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Big Top Pee-wee. Doesn't matter. Together, their camera shots throughout the movie did a good job of expressing Donnie's slow transformation from young boy to reluctant man via the use of ideal angles and minimal CGI techniques. Also worthy of note, Kelly himself designed the terrifying bunny costume worn by Frank throughout the film. And so on to the musical score. As Kevin Smith had made clear in the audio commentary, Kelly knew precisely which songs he wanted to incorporate in his movie well before it was produced. That kind of confidence, that kind of tenacity is rare and cannot go unappreciated. However, a statement like this is not without its caveat. Just because an artist knows what they want in a piece doesn't mean it's anything of worth. But of worth it was. Donnie Darko powerfully punches through the hazy film of musical monotony with melancholy 80s rock acts like Tears for Fears, Duran Duran, and of course, The Church. In using such great music from that era, as well as some very ominous work by the film's composer, Kelly lifts the movie right off the screen to add a level of vivid texture rarely felt in a movie, and it spares no expense in its grand finale with a hauntingly quiet Gary Jules cover of Tears for Fears' Mad World. But with the good must come the bad. You know, I say that, but I find it difficult to find many flaws with this film, aside from maybe Seth Rogen's underwhelming debut performance in the background, with the exception of one very important argument. And this is something I feel could be made against Richard Kelly movies in general, and that is this. Whenever I watch a Richard Kelly film, I feel like this is the overarching plot in all its beauty. But then Kelly slices a razor through two parallel sections of it and decides to only show us a snippet of his ultimate intent. It can be frustrating to say the least, and leads me back to that feeling of pretentious arrogance I touched on earlier. You'll see me refer to the very same annoyance, if ever, on the subject of any of his other films. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm one of the biggest fans of metaphor and ambiguity in art, and I truly appreciate when an artist leaves certain elements to the imagination. But to completely do away with huge chunks of your story and just expect your audience to understand it without so much as a hint is something else entirely. Watching the theatrical and director's cut releases side by side will give you an idea of what I'm talking about. That being said, Donnie Darko is definitely a film worth watching, and not just once. It brings many different themes together to weave an experience one won't soon forget, as well as a possible new outlook one may not want to. And despite some forced strains of the imagination, it works very well as a whole, namely the director's cut. At this point in the show, we try to call on the public, that is, our viewers, and their recent opinions about previously announced movie for this episode. But considering this is our first episode, or we simply don't have any recent comments on this episode's movie in general, we'll go ahead and leave this where it is. There are very few films like Donnie Darko, making it difficult to suggest something similar to it for any future viewing. Considering that, we recommend Richard Kelly's second full-length film, 2006 apocalyptic thriller, Southland Tales. While far from the perfect movie, Southland Tales does do an unforgettable job at portraying an alternate universe in which the events of the biblical book of Revelation come true in modern-day Southern California. And I won't go without mentioning a killer hallucinatory dance number by a certain Justin Timberlake. He may not be the best actor, but by God, the boy can dance. We hope you've enjoyed our very first episode of Silver Screen Slam. Join us next episode, and we'll be checking out the recently released code-cracking Alan Turing biopic, The Imitation Game, directed by Morton Tildum and starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Keira Knightley. If you have anything you'd like to voice about next episode's film, or if you enjoy the show in general, feel free to drop us a line on our social media outlets at the bottom of your screen. It'll make my head grow larger, and that is what I want, for that is where my power lies. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jake Brown, asking you to vote for Dukakis and to get outside more and watch some movies. Thank you. This is short, and the next one's kind of short, huh? Okay. And then we're done. It's done at that point. Ooh, girl. Camera 2. Okay.